Good evening, National Baptist USA Incorporated. Welcome to this evening's NBCUSA Hope Health webinar, TempleCare Matters. I am Dr. Felisa Swift Washington, your host for the evening. Now, please hit those share buttons to inform your friends and family and coworkers to join in on tonight's TempleCare Matters webinar, especially those with grandkids, those with kids, those with nieces and nephews, and those who work with you. They do not want to miss tonight's discussion. And while you are sharing through text and on social media, again, share, and ask your friends to share. Now, let me first acknowledge our national leadership, Dr. Jerry Young, President, Dr. Alvin Edwards, General Secretary, Dr. Alvin Love, Chair, Federal Faith-Based Development Initiative, Dr. Michael O. Minor, National Director, NBCUSA Liaison to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. In this evening's TempleCare Matters webinar, we will share about April's suggested health observances, which are as follows: Minority Health Month, National Autism Awareness Month, World Health Day, which is this upcoming Sunday, April 7th. We will also have updates from Let's Move NBC USA. This evening's webinar is supported by funding from the National Institute of Health. That's NIH All of Us research program. We want you to join our NBC USA Hope team in becoming 1 in a million in one of our nation's most robust research studies. Now, to learn more, you may go to www.joinallofus.org/NBCUSA. If this is your first time joining one of our webinars, we want you to participate in our NIH All of Us research program, pre and post surveys. Now, we're pasting that link for the pre-survey right now in the chat. We'll share the post survey near the end of this evening's webinar. So thanks in advance for your participation, because we know you're going to do it. This webinar is part of our continuing series of First Tuesday TempleCare Matters webinars. This has evolved into hybrid events with virtual and in-person watch gatherings in our local NBC USA congregations. Now, in each session, we delve deeper into the 7 pillars of TempleCare Matters. So now it's time for our triple-demic update. Seasonal influenza activity. It remains elevated, but good news, it is decreasing. COVID-19 activity is decreasing in most areas of the country. RSV activity is decreasing in all areas of the country. Good news. Hospital bed occupancy for all patients, including within ICUs, remains stable nationally. So let's touch back on influenza again. Nationally, seasonal influenza activity remains elevated, but it is decreasing. COVID-19, let's touch on that. Most key indicators, including wastewater viral activity, which basically indicates the level of virus in the community, are showing decreasing levels of activity nationally. Now, let's expound on RSV. Decrease in RSV activity has been noted. It's been noted and observed in all areas of the country as on a decline. 8 of 10 readings are now below the 3% positivity epidemic threshold. This indicates that the RSV season is ending in those areas. Hospitalization rates are decreasing in all age groups. Now, let's move on to vaccination updates. National vaccination coverage for COVID-19, influenza, and RSV vaccines remain low for children and adults for the 2023-24 respiratory illness season. COVID-19 vaccines continue to be recommended, so let's get those if we can, and can provide a layer of protection. Attention. Sunday is World Health Day. On Sunday, the World Health Organization will observe its 76th anniversary. The World Health Organization Council on the Economics of Health for All has found that at least 140 countries recognize health as a human right in their constitution. Yet, countries are not passing and putting into practice laws to ensure their populations are entitled to access health services. This underpins the fact that at least 4.5 billion people, that's more than half of the world's population, were not fully covered by essential health services in 2021. To address these types of challenges, the theme for World Health Day 2024 is My Health, My Right. This year's theme was chosen to champion the rights of everyone, everywhere, to have access to quality health services, education, information, as well as safe drinking water, clean air, good nutrition, quality housing, decent working and environmental conditions, and freedom from discrimination. Now, for this month's special feature, it's what we've all been waiting for. This evening, we will conduct a candid Q&A session about National Autism Awareness Month. So again, if you haven't yet shared this webinar with your family and friends and those who work with you in the church or the school setting, this is a good time to do so. We are elated to have a special guest panelist, Dr. Sean Sip Young, with us this evening. Dr. Sean Katina Louise Sip Young is a native of Coldwater, Mississippi. She received her bachelor's degree from Delta State University and her master's education specialist, EDS, and EDD, Doctor of Education degree from Union University. Dr. Young has been employed with Shelby County School System Legacy Memphis City Schools for the past 20 years. She currently serves as a special education advisor of 6 high schools, 2 K-8 schools, and 1 elementary school. She has served as a special educator for the Carrollton Farmers Branch Independent School District in Carrollton, Texas, and special education teacher for William Sullivan High School in Durant, Mississippi. However, she returned immediately after obtaining her bachelor's degree from Delta State to serve her community at Coldwater Elementary as a special education teacher for a short term. Dr. Young has embodied the vision of educating and developing an understanding for everyone as it pertains to special needs communities all over. Her hopes are for an understanding that will encourage acceptance of individuals with disabilities within our culture and our society. Dr. Young is the wife of Michael T. Young Sr. and the mother of 3 lovely children, Michaela, Micah, and Michael II. Aside from devotion to her family, she is heavily involved in the development of youth as the youth leader at New Hope Missionary Baptist Church in Walls, Mississippi. Dr. Young also dedicates several hours of community service to the empowerment and encouragement of young ladies through Delta Gems, Delta Academy, and Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, of which she has served faithfully for 25 years. Welcome, Dr. Sean Sip Young.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. So, Dr. Sip Young, we have several questions to help guide our discussion this evening. So, first of all, might we ask, can you tell us what is autism and autism spectrum disorder, also known as ASD?
Okay. Well, autism and autism spectrum disorder is the same thing. Autism is a developmental disorder that can cause significantly social communication and behavior changes. Many years ago, people would state that autism has various terms. It was autistic disorder, Asperger's syndrome, pervasive developmental disorder, and Rett syndrome. And I want you to take this picture, a picture of an umbrella. And when you're looking at an umbrella, when you open up the umbrella, you have those different prongs up under there. And so under those prongs, each prong can represent pervasive developmental disorder, autistic disorder, Asperger's syndrome, and Rett syndrome. And when you put all that together with that big umbrella, that's how you got autism spectrum disorder. Because so many people were getting it confused, they didn't know how to categorize it. So what they did, they made it a broad spectrum. So, and with that spectrum, it can affect socially, behaviorally, and communication.
Right, awesome. So if you didn't know, now you know. She talked about the umbrella. So, Dr. Sip Young, we have heard the stories of parents who did not know their child or children were autistic until their children were in their late teens or even older. Maybe simply because they were unaware that this was even a condition. They didn't have that information, definition that you just so efficiently provided. So, what are early signs of autism? Like, what are some symptoms of autism that parents and caregivers can look for?
And I love that question. I actually have a coworker, and myself, I also have a son that has autism. But we have, a lot of discussions about this, and it was amazing because he even stated that his son, he diagnosed himself when he was in 8th grade. So that's a great question. A lot of people, they don't know what signs to look for because, and I hate to say it, in the Black culture, they, if they think something's wrong with their child, they don't want to share it or they don't want to say anything about it. But some of the signs or symptoms you can look for, I know, like with my son, he was talking, and then at between ages 18 months and 2 years, all of a sudden it just stopped. And then he went into this little bubble. He was lining things up. Some echolalia, might have some kids that have echolalia. They might repeat everything. Like if you say, "Hey, Dr. Felisa," they'll say, "Hey, Dr. Felisa." They'll repeat everything you say. You have some, and I'm trying to think here, the lining up of things, even parallel play. Just say if they're in a room full of kids, they might just be focused on what they're doing. Just saying if they're playing with a toy, they can stay in that zone the entire time. Kids can walk walk by them and look at them, or say, don't do anything. Long as they don't touch that toy or disturb what's going on with them, they're fine. They can parallel play in a room full of kids and not even be bothered, as long as no one bothers them. Sensory issues, like some kids, they're very sensitive to touch. They're sensitive to light. They're sensitive to hearing things, loud noises. And some are very picky eaters. They only eat certain things, certain times of the day, all the time. So those are some of the things that you can look for. Repetitive behavior, some like rocking, flapping their hands, clapping. Those are some of the things that you can look for. And then also some kids, and I say on the higher spectrum, they're fixated on things. Like they may obsess about cars or characters, dinosaurs, animals. It can be a number of things, but whatever they obsess about, they know everything about it. You can ask them one question, they can just reel off and give you that information. Like we had someone in our hometown that was on the spectrum. We never knew what it was, but we knew it was something different about him. And if you told him what year you were born, he can tell you what day you were born on. So that was something very unique. So it's something very unique about the characteristics of autism spectrum disorder.
Awesome. You are helping us tonight. And I know you mentioned the repetitive behaviors. And I'm glad you mentioned that because I know there are times people may think kids are just acting out when it could be more going on that needs to be checked out by their physician. So let me ask you this. Can children grow out of autism?
No. I've heard the myth, and this especially been in education. A lot of parents say, "Oh, my child grew out of autism. They didn't have it." No, most of the time they were misdiagnosed. Because as you know, autism, or you might not know, autism has no medical diagnosis. There's no way medically to diagnose autism. It's simply through observation, a series of tests and observations. So there's no medical diagnosis. So no, you can't grow out of it. But what you can do is learn how to live with that condition. By learning to live with that condition, you have early intervention things that you can do, such as occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy, and then applied behavior analysis, which has a plethora of things that you can look for, like social stories, first den charts, a visual schedule, things of that nature. But no, you can't grow out of autism. I wish you could, but you can't.
Okay, all right. So I know a lot of research has been done on autism, so it's not diagnosed, but are you able to enlighten us on what causes autism spectrum disorder?
Oh, that's the $1,000,000 question.
Okay.
That research is still going on today. It's been many myths. One was that vaccines caused autism. Now they're saying they're doing research now about genetics. environmental factors like foods, mercury in foods, uh, specific diets, how you eat when you were pregnant, things of that nature. But there has not been a known cause yet what causes autism, and we're still waiting on that. So, but no, there's no known cause.
Okay, that's interesting. Now I'm sure most of us likely know the answer to this, but just in case this is all new to someone joining us tonight, can a person who has autism spectrum disorder have another disability?
Of course, we have many kids in the school system. They range from they have autism spectrum disorder as well as emotionally disturbed, autism spectrum disorder, or intellectually gifted. Autism spectrum disorder or intellectually disabled. It's a plethora of diagnoses that they can be what we call dually diagnosed. So yes, you can have two diagnoses.
Right. And I saw where someone put, Sister Nettie put in the chat about them being intellectually gifted. So I'm glad you mentioned that as well.
Yeah, that's on the higher end of that spectrum. When we still thinking about that umbrella, you have those different parts of the spectrum. So
exactly. Thank you for that. Now, are there treatments or medications available for autism?
No, well, you can't treat autism, but what you can treat the symptoms. Many kids with autism spectrum disorder have so many symptoms. Some suffer with anxiety. So of course, there's medication for anxiety. Because they're very picky eaters, some suffer with gastro problems. So of course, you have medication for that. Some have ADHD. They have medication for that. So those are just many symptoms, but there's no medication for autism. It's just the symptoms of autism.
Okay, all right. So just to clarify, there are no medications and no cure. They say I say cure, funny. But for autism, there's no one size fits all method, but approaches are taken to treat the symptoms and behaviors on an individualized basis. So
individual, and I like how you said that, an individualized basis, because when you think about a child or with a person with autism spectrum disorder, that's one person. Regardless of what the textbook says, they all don't fit that cue of what's in the textbook or the research that we have. It's just that one particular person, and that's him, and they're very unique.
Absolutely. Okay. So why do you think children with autism have difficulty learning in a regular classroom setting?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. When you're talking about a regular classroom setting, and we have to be very candid about that. When a child, and I'm just going to use the school system, when a child comes into a school system, and a lot of people think because they have a disability or whatever, they're supposed to automatically go to a special ed or special education self-contained classroom. That's not the case. When we're thinking about a child with disability or autism spectrum disorder going into a regular classroom, that's their classroom. They just receive special education support services to help them learn in the regular classroom. Now, going back why they have so many challenges, because it's new. A lot of people, they don't want to find out or research or even bother with learning how to deal with a child with autism. But if you use some of the methods or some of the things that we practice on a daily basis with trying to help our children cope and be successful academically, what works for them works for all. Because they have to have specific schedules, they have to have routine, structure. Children with autism spectrum disorder function in structure. They have to have structure. They have to know what comes next. So those things, a lot of people think they are challenging, but you can learn in a regular education classroom with those things in place. It make it conducive for learning for all, not just for the child with autism spectrum disorder. But we have to be willing to learn the information, research, get the training, be a lifelong learner, because this is not going away. And going back, I'm thinking about the prevalence of autism back in 2000. The prevalence for children with autism was 1 in 150. Fast forward, it's 2024. The prevalence for autism spectrum disorder now is 1 in 36. So that's something you should really think about. And I remember when I did my research on this, and you brought that up about regular classroom, I did an in-depth research about that, about implementing various strategies in the general education setting with autism spectrum disorder. And that was the one thing, getting the information, learning the information, how to implement the information, making the class conducive for all. So I told you it was a loaded question.
Right. Okay,
So,
awesome. So least restrictive yet structured.
structured environment, yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. So what about parents and parents as caregivers? Are there special support groups available for them?
Yes, there are basically just asking questions. There's so many support groups, especially now on social media. You can just Google the word or type in autism. A plethora of things are going to come up. But I like for, to advise parents, and not just, parents, but myself as well. When you're looking at a support group, you need to really research their support group, because sometimes you have people with a common cause, and that cause is not serving anything. It's mainly just serving that person. So you really need to research the support group that you're looking for, because you want to make sure you have a common goal. And then remember, it's not about you, it's about the child. So you're trying to find support for yourself, but how to better serve your child. So in the ways of finding, even in your state department, no matter what state you live in, I work in Tennessee, but I live in Mississippi. The State Department has support groups. They can tell you about the information. If you have a child that's on an IEP, whenever you go to a meeting, they give you what they call a procedure and safeguards. It tells you all about your rights as a parent. But if you look in the back of the information, it also has groups that you can also reach out to that can help you with that.
Okay, great. So open your mouth, network, and
Network.
research.
Yes.
All right. So when I shared out today, I encourage youth ministry counselors to join this call. So what would you say churches can do to be of the most assistance when it comes to autism?
Well, and I'm going to brag about my church. For one, be accepting.
Yes.
And I'm so happy. I was so excited about this webinar, because not only bringing awareness is fine. That's great, but acceptance is the key. When you try to learn or try to see other ways, because it's just not to sit and get now. This is just, everything is not true. Everything now is non-traditional. But ways I think churches can help with that. One thing is noise cancellation. I call them headphones. And I'm sorry, in the Baptist church, sometimes it can get a little noisy, get a little loud, and sometimes that can be very distracting, and it'll catch them by surprise because they don't know what's coming next. So maybe the noise cancellation headphones, a sensory room. A sensory room is just playing soft music, bright colors, or cool, soothing colors. And we all have different rooms or different areas in the church that you can make it, or just have somewhere that they can calm down, or have easy access so they can get in and out, because sometimes it can catch them by surprise about what's going on in church. I know, like at my church, and my first lady and my pastor, they're very receptive to my son. I remember the first time when we went there, he was flipping down the aisle, and I was, I'm trying to catch him. And they was like, he's okay, he's okay. But to have people like that are very receptive to what's going on with your child and being supportive, that helps. Just bringing their awareness and making sure you also celebrate the difference. Like we in our church, we celebrate the difference. We wear our blue in the month of blue. The last Sunday, we all have T-shirts that we wear. Like my son, he serves on the Usher board. Well, the Usher board, they support him. Even though he's different, they still support him. So the main thing is support, awareness, support, and acceptance. So it's a plethora of things that you can utilize to help ease, make them at ease or bring them to ease when they're in church. And then the main thing to me is exposure. I know sometimes they might become upset. Take them out, bring them back in, but you have to expose them. Things that you do all the time, you need to expose them to it. Like if you go out to the restaurant, whatever. I know I've gone to another topic, but I mean, those things help when you're trying to teach your children. These are the things that you're supposed to do. But the church bring awareness, bring acceptance, and be receptive of what's going on. And then just ask the questions.
Right. And I like that you said the noise cancellation headphones, just to have those available and then have a sensory room, a calming space for them. That's awesome. Because oftentimes members who are not autism aware may be looking on strangely. Some may even speak out to try to correct or discipline.
Yes, and you can't do that. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't scream at them. You can't, there are different ways of communicating with a person or a child with autism, and screaming, because you'll just be screaming because they can scream even louder, and that'll make them react even more. So don't just react, and they're very sensitive about this. You can't walk up and just touch them. They have to invite you in. And to me, I think they have a sixth sense. It's like sometimes they have a good read on people better than we do. So they can read if someone is not for them or for them. They can tell, so they know, and they'll invite you in. And once they do, you're in.
Good. That's good to know. So it's important we know these things so we can best support the child, the parents, and the family as the compassionate village that embraces and cares as their church family. So Dr. Sip-Young, it has been a pleasure chatting with you this evening, and we've covered so much in our discussion. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
Yes. One thing I would like to add first, I would like to thank you for this wonderful opportunity and sharing about something that I do. I love so much. I advocate for it. This is something I do every day, and not only do I do it every day, I live it. Because I have a son, he's now 19 years old, and I'm so excited about he's going to go to college in the fall to Mississippi State University. They have what they call a program there, so he can participate in this program. So regardless of the label, he's still able. And that's what we have to remember with our children that have autism spectrum disorder. And then also remember, and this is just a sidebar for those that they have questions about it, your public school system can test you. If you suspect that your child might have autism spectrum disorder, the school system can test your child for free. I have so many parents say, I'm going to pay for this, I'm going to pay for that. The public school system will do that for free. We have speech and language services, we have physical therapy, we have occupational therapy, we have music therapy. Some school systems even have what we call applied behavior analysis therapists that will help you cope and research and find strategies that will work with your child. So just remember, we have autism awareness, but autism acceptance is the key. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up about the school system, because some people may not know. This has been very beneficial, and we all have nuggets we can take away and be more positively responsive and understanding, having learned quite a bit tonight about the autism spectrum disorder. So thanks so much, Dr. Sip-Young.
Thank you.
You really enlightened us this evening. Now we do have a few more things to cover before the night is done. So let's take time now to hear from you all, our attendees out there, always learning. Let's answer just a couple of questions now. We'll fill the rest in our Q&A session towards the end. So I'm only going to take about 2 or 3 questions. So one question we have from social media is there a such thing as borderline autism?
Well, as I explained before, when I was talking about that umbrella goes from a severe range to a mild range. And it's not borderline, but they probably do have some type of characteristics that are meeting just the end of the spectrum. So it's not borderline, but they probably are on the spectrum, but it could be very mild. And with that being very mild, I mean, they still can live a normal life. Don't get it twisted. I don't want you to think that they can't live they can live a normal life, but you just have to adjust what you do to make their life their norm.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. Another question we have, what about, and you did mention Asperger's syndrome. So what about Asperger's syndrome? Is this a form of autism?
It is. It's right up under that umbrella. It's that prong. It's more in on the high end. I mean, because you're thinking about your geniuses. They just have some problems with socializing, and then with the social changes, it bothers them. So they might not want to be in a crowd of people. They want to be smart all by themselves and be left alone. So, and that's okay. But yes, Asperger's, it falls under that umbrella.
All right. That's all for right now from our social media. So at this time, we're going to keep moving. It's time to get moving. Thank you again, Dr. Sip Young. It's time to get moving on NBC USA family. Let's hear from our NBC USA movement champion, Sister Nettie Johnson. Sister Nettie, it's in your hands.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Felisa and Dr. Sip Young, for that wonderful information. So needed. And I think we all did learn something. Y'all, just a quick update from Let's Move National Baptist. We are here, y'all, at the beginning of a new week, a new month, and a new quarter. And I have a quick question, and if you can get your fingers to the chat, I would love for you all to just give me a little bit of information in the chat. And here's the question. You know, just 92 days ago, not everybody, but a lot of people, literally millions of people, were setting resolutions. Y'all remember those? New Year's resolutions about what we were going to do better for our health. And statistics show that exercise, moving more, is one of those top. Whether you made a resolution or not, here we are now in the beginning of the second quarter of the year. And what I'd love for you to do is to put in the chat a 1, a 2, or a 3. Here's the criteria. Put in a number 1, y'all, if you look over these past couple of months, you know, we just sprang forward a couple of days ago, you know, when we moved the clock. So we're going to take a look back. If you look back over that and you can say, you know what? I am ahead of where I think I should be. I am on top of my goals. I'm moving like I intended, like I purposed, maybe even committed to myself, or even more importantly to God. If you're like, yes, I am on it, type in a 1. Number 2, if you're like, nah, you know, I'm on the track. It could be better, but you know, life been lifing. I'm in there. Put in a 2. And then put in the number 3 if your response is, huh? Like, not on the track. I don't even know what the track is. I forgot what I said I was going to do. Okay, so let me see. Okay. And if you're able to look in the chat, do you all see that the numbers are pretty much the same? Dr. Miner says this, and Dr. Miner, I quote you all the time because I love this quote so much. He says, in any room, the biggest room is always the room for improvement. We all can do better, right? So as we move, Let's Move National Baptist into this second quarter, we want to make you aware of just a couple of resources that we're bringing back. We've had several members to ask for these again. In our first year, we did open hours, and so they are coming back. Please be on the lookout. We have 2 open hours scheduled for April. And what they are is this basically open community sharing and coaching times. One will be on Friday, April 12th, for those that can pop in during your noon luncheon hour. It's on Zoom. We will have another one on Tuesday, April 23rd at 7:30. And if you can't make those live, that's okay. You can email in your questions. They will be answered, and the recordings of those Zooms will be posted in the Let's Move National Baptist Band. So it's a time to come together, maybe get an accountability partner, get your questions answered so that next quarter, when we come through in the middle of the summer, we can see more 1s and 2s than 2s and 3s. How y'all feeling about that? Does that sound like a good plan? All righty. Now, the last thing that I want to bring up, and then just another closing, is that a quick reminder that we are trying to do our communication in the Let's Move National Baptist Band group. I'm going to drop that link into the chat. You don't have to download an app, but it is a handy dandy app that is free for those of you that want to, or you can just log into the site. The benefit of it is kind of like Facebook, but without all the other stuff from Facebook. It allows you to see articles, assessments, tracking pages, the wellness workbook, a calendar of events, not only for Let's Move National Baptist, but also for Hope, as well as resource listings and links. Sometimes people just come in and share their praise reports or maybe share challenges, plans that they're doing. It's our community place for us to connect. And so everything is over there in the band. If you have not yet joined the band, please do so. And remember to turn in your movement minutes for March. We are going to have some grace this month, and we're holding off on the $100 gift card for March. It will be given next month when we'll do 2. We want to give more people an opportunity to turn in their minutes this time. So if you haven't done so, turn in your monthly minutes. Let us celebrate the movement that you have been doing. Let's connect to talk about any challenges or celebrations as we are moving more for your health. So that's it for Let's Move National Baptist. Keep moving, and we hope to see you soon in band, in email, and of course on the next TempleCare Matters webinar. Back over to you, Dr. Felisa.
Dr. Felisa, unmute.
That would be me. Thanks so much, Sister Nettie. She has given us a lot of creative ways to get moving. So let's take note of everything that she said tonight. And by the way, Sister Nettie, I am a 1, but I was scared to move over to the chat. I thought I may accidentally leave the webinar. So I'm a 1.
That's all right. We all moving together.
Okay, so now we remind everyone about NBCUSA's collaboration with the NIH All of Us research program. Our community isn't just unique in culture and tradition, but also in our health needs. Participating in the All of Us research program is a step towards making sure health research considers all of our needs. Be sure to visit www.joinallofus.org/NBCUSA now to enroll in the program and to help make research more inclusive. Also, you can do the #, or what do y'all call it? #Join All of Us today. All right. We also have a brand new QR code to promote NBCUSA's involvement with NIH. Duke, would you share it if you haven't already on the screen? So we ask each of you to scan the QR code now, if you can, and share it with others. Okay. Dr. Miner has promised to provide a $400 marketing stipend to the region that has the most UTM, the most tracking module, and web page analytics each month. So Duke, which region won this month?
The region that won for the month of March is Midwest region. Sister Teresa Fields Farr is the regional coordinator for them.
Congratulations, Midwest region. Sister Teresa Fields Farr, regional coordinator. So better luck next month to our other regions. Remember that it all begins with scanning the QR code followed by the www.joinallofus.org/NBCUSA, the landing page. And that landing page will have a picture of Dr. and Sister Miner on there. Then be sure to create your account. Everybody got it? All right. Now, we will hear from Sister Bettina Campbell. She has a special announcement about an upcoming special NBCUSA Hope webinar. Sister Bettina is on you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. 5,726 women and girls aged 15 to 44 in the U.S. were diagnosed with primary and secondary syphilis. According to the Centers for Disease Control, infections such as HIV, viral hepatitis, STIs, and TB can complicate pregnancies and may have a serious consequence for a woman, her pregnancy outcomes, and her baby. So, for that reason, we are going to be providing additional information about syphilis and other STIs and their implications for maternal and infant health. And we want you to please plan to join us for our webinar series, Syphilis is Serious. And it will be 7 p.m. Central Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, April 18th. Thank you. We'll look forward to seeing you.
Okay, thank you, Sister Bettina. Let's not forget to tune in. Now, we welcomed in the month of April on yesterday, and April is Minority Help Month. During the month of April, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services Office of Minority Health recognizes National Minority Help Month as a time to emphasize the importance of improving healthcare in racial and ethnic minority communities. So the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services Office of Minority Health honors this observance by raising awareness about health disparities that disproportionately impact people from historically marginalized communities, and by sharing resources to help with this. Minority and underserved communities often face greater health challenges, including limited access to care, higher rates of chronic conditions, worse health outcomes, as well as stigma and discrimination in healthcare settings. For example, Black people are 30% more likely to die from heart disease, 50% more likely to have a stroke, and 30% more likely to have asthma. Additionally, compared to non-Hispanic white persons, Hispanic individuals are 70% more likely to be diagnosed with diabetes by a physician and 1.2 times more likely to be obese. So the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services is committed to identifying where these disparities exist and continuously working to improve health equity across Medicare and Medicaid programs and policies. Minority Health Month 2024. So moving along, and we're almost done, stay with us. As I stated earlier, if this is your first time joining one of our webinars, we want you to participate in our NIH All of Us research program pre and post surveys. We are pasting the link for the post survey now. And as always, and that's in the chat. And as always, we say thanks again for your participation in these surveys. Well, we have covered much this evening, but the best part is coming now. We want to hear from you. You may type in the chat or raise your virtual hand. For those watching on social media, we'll do our best to capture your questions. And we once again want to thank the NIH All of Us research program for being our major sponsor this evening. Do we have any questions in our chat to our H.O.P.E team?
All right, Dr. Felisa, we do have a close to it. Sister Teresa actually came on live. She wants to just to be excited about winning, apparently. So,
Okay. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you, TempleCare. Thank you, Dr. Minor, Dr. Washington. Just wonderful. You're just so energetic. I am so proud of the Midwest region, and I want to thank them because I did not do this by myself. So I want to thank all of the Midwest region, all the ambassadors, and quite a few of them are on tonight. For Dr. Sip Young, I did have one question that I wanted to ask. Does having children at a later age, does that give you more chance for the child to be autistic, or it has nothing to do with it?
I would say, because I'm not a medical person, but there's not enough research to state that that would be the cause. Because having a child later on in life, it's not enough research to support that. So no, I wouldn't say that would be a cause of that.
Okay. You gave a wonderful, wonderful, informative presentation.
Thank you.
And we will make sure that the rest of our Midwest people go on and hear the recording afterwards that weren't able to attend. So thank you again, H.O.P.E, NIH, Dr. Minor, and all of the team. We thank you from the Midwest. God bless.
And congratulations to you all. And I love that you said it was a team effort. All right, so are there any other questions? I'm not able to see, again, I don't want to accidentally leave you all tonight, so I'm not able to see the chat. If any of my team members, you all see anything and can unmute? Sister Nettie, I saw you put something in the chat.
Oh, Dr. Sip Young, she addressed it.
Okay, great.
I had the same question in line with Sister Bellspar. Thank you so much.
All right. We have also from our social media site, is there any type of special degree or area of the people going to for this, a doctor's special kind of degree for people who want to go into assistance with people with autism? I think that I hope I'm capturing what they're asking.
It is. There is a degree. They do have degrees in it. It's called applied behavioral analysis. And then some university also specialize in just strictly autism. The university, and I guess I should have included that in my bio, and I apologize, Dr. Minor. I left that out. I just recently completed my applied behavior analysis certification through Arizona State University. But there are many universities that cover this information, and they offer practicum hours as well, so you can get the practice, get the training, so it's more hands-on instead of just, getting the information, reading it, and then not being able to apply it. So yeah, there is degrees, applied behavior analysis.
Okay. Awesome. And congratulations to you, Dr. Sip Young. All right, I know I already said it again, but once again, we want to thank NIH, All of Us Research Program, for being our major sponsor this evening. And let's not forget our April marketing updates, Minority Health Month, Autism Awareness Month, and World Health Day. You may download the complete list of all of these annual health observances during the year from our website. That's again, www.hopenbc.com. You will find additional information and resources on our NBC USA Hope webpage, again, at www.hopenbc.com. So upcoming events, listen up and get your calendars ready. We will host our next series of regional NBC USA Hope conferences this month. Midwest region, they were our winners tonight. Teresa Fels, FAR Regional Coordinator, Saturday, April the 20th. 2024, Second Missionary Baptist Church, Grandview, Missouri, Bishop John D. Lewis, pastor. Southwest region, Pastor Bernard Montgomery. Friday, April the 26th through Saturday, April the 27th, 2024, Cedar Grove Baptist Church, Pritchard, Alabama. Pastor Sylvester Adams is the host pastor. Southeast region, Brooklyn Rogers, Regional Coordinator. Friday, April 26th through April the 27th, 2024. For more information, email info@hopenbc.com. Here's the agenda for our next NBC USA Hope TempleCare Matters webinar, May 7th, 2024. So mark your calendars. Then we will talk about American Stroke Association Month, National Mental Health Month, NBC USA Hope Mother's Day, Bells of Remembrance for Remembrance Breast Health Cancer Awareness. That's Sunday, May the 12th. National Women's Health Week, which is May 12th through the 18th. And the Empower to End Stroke, which is Sunday, May the 21st. You may join on the web and also via social media. Our web page, again, is www.hopenbc.com. Facebook page is National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated Hope Health Initiative. Twitter feed is at Hope_NBC USA. And our YouTube channel, NBC USA Hope. If you would like to enroll in our NBC USA Hope Health Ministry trainings in person or self-paced online, you may email info@hopenbc.com or call 901-603-0762. Again, that's 901-603-0762. We would appreciate your feedback. Would you kindly complete our webinar survey? We pasted the link in the chat. However, you may also find the NBC USA online webinar survey at https://hopenbc.com/webinar-survey. Okay, let's open it up for questions. Oh, we already did our questions, so we're good on that unless someone else had, okay. So this concludes our session, our Q&A period as well. This has been an evening well spent. We appreciate the tireless work of our NBC USA HOPE team. Dr. Michael O. Minor, our leader. Dr. Desi Lee, Sister Lottie Minor, Nettie Johnson, Pastor Dexter Moraney, Ellen McKnight Hill, yours truly, Dr. Felisa Swift Washington, Minister Geraldine Moore, Loretta Miller, Dr. Lavoria Williams, Bettina Campbell, Dr. Marion Talley, Thomas Duke Robertson. Our 7 regional coordinators, Pastor Daniel Blackburn, Northeast, Brooklyn Rogers, Southeast, Pastor Bernard Montgomery, Southwest 1, Linda Carper, Southwest 2, Teresa Fells Farr, Midwest, Tafera Robinson, West, Pastor Richmond Johnson, Far West. To connect with your regional coordinator, please email, again, if you don't have it already, info@hopenbc.com. We know that some of you may have additional comments or questions, so we'll formally close this evening's webinar in just a moment. We'll then open the mics for our general Q&A Zoom session, and we hope to see you on Tuesday, May the 7th, 2024, for our next TempleCare Matters webinar. Finally, we acknowledge our president, Dr. Jerry Young, who reminds us to envision the future exceptionally. This has been a production of the National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated, the nation's largest Black denomination. God bless and keep you is our prayer. Thank you.